Well, this is Dr. Buddy Crum, and I'm here with my associate Don Wales, and we're so glad to be with you today. We want to talk about the transfer of wealth, but we want you to learn how to be a wealth builder. You know, it's so interesting when you consider that the United States has just a little more than 6% of the world's population, and yet we have over 50% of all of the wealth in the world is stationed right here among us. People recognize that, and that's why we have people that constantly want to come here to get their education and to learn about how to be wealth builders. We have to give the fact that capitalism is also an attraction. We think capitalism is biblical in that we're taught to be stewards, and stewardship means you take what God has given you and build on it and make it even greater so that you can impact His kingdom for those purposes that He has. But just think about that. We have more wealth. We have more bathtubs, more bathrooms, more bedrooms, more homes, more of everything. And yet we have also the best medical facilities in the world, and yet we have the most sick people. We have the most crime. We have the most addiction. Something's not working. And if you look at it, most of it is based on economics. So we need to get our economics corrected. If we are in the richest civilization that's ever been, why are we still dealing with poverty? Well, we want to cover that today. And this is a time when we want to know, how do you build wealth? And we're going to talk about that today. And Don, it's so good always to be with you and to talk about this. You and I have spent a lot of time helping people build wealth in our lifetime. I spent many years in the investment business, and you have also. So let's see if we can just help our fellow Christians become more wealthy.
Well, that's very good. Thank you. So glad. Always good to be here with you, Dr. Crum. We enjoy this time. We really do, as we so often say, not just as a filler, but it means a lot to us to be able to hopefully share principles, concepts, truths with you that will impact your life. And it's amazing that you mentioned how rich of a society we are here in the United States, because we are. And one of the great things that many times gets overlooked is we see so many injustices, but we never really talk about the economic injustice, which is really the biggest injustice of all, really, because there's enough wealth for everybody. And when we look at what we have available to us, nobody should be hungry. Nobody should be without a job or a house that wants one. The need should be met. And that's part of what we're here for. That's our passion. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to see happen. And so we know that if we share some of these things and these principles, you can get it. Because as we've talked about before, building wealth really is not that difficult. It's not that hard, and the earlier you start, the easier it is. It's a matter of doing the right things. So we're very passionate about this and spending time, because we believe that if you can make some adjustments, start doing some things that maybe you're not doing, and continue to do them, you will have a great impact on building your wealth. And that's really God's plan. We believe that's God's plan for every man. So let's get started today if we could. And I thought this was really exciting. We had several questions that have come to us. And we always like that, because we want to make sure that what we're talking about is relevant. It doesn't do any good to talk about high finance and principles if they're not landing somewhere and you're not applying them. So we thought we would start with some questions that we feel like are very relevant to our viewing audience and listening audience. And so I'll jump into those and we can talk about them a little bit, because I think they'll give us a good guideline or a guidepost to kind of walk along some of these principles. So the first one that came to us, which was very generic but very common, is how do I get started? How do I get started? It's easy to talk about investing and understand some of the concepts, and how do I get involved with really, truly investing? And, you know, that's many times the biggest step and the biggest hurdle, because it's so intimidating to get started.
You know, getting started, the first thing you have to do is decide, I want to build wealth.
That's right.
And I choose to start now. Mm-hmm. And you know, time value of money is very important. But the first thing is, I want to change what I'm doing. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things that we'll get in today, and one of the questions, is compounding interest. Because as Albert Einstein states, it's the eighth wonder of the world. It's hard to fully understand the power of compound interest. And many times we grow up and find ourselves on the other side of compound interest, which is paying high interest. Somebody's benefiting on the other side of that. We want you to benefit on the right side of the table. So when we talk about getting started, we'll talk about some of these things today. How do I get started? Well, we live in a generation where we're seeing things that I never thought I would see in my generation. And I'm a young man. I'm only 55 years old, and I can hear all of the people gasping. They can't believe that. They thought I was only 35. But I never thought that we would ever see in our lifetime some of these platforms and the availability and ease at which we're seeing investment opportunities. Yes. So you have Robinhood, Cash App, Acorn, Betterment is a new robo-advisor. And all of those are, I'm a big fan of all of them from the sense that they make it very easy for you to get invested. Are they the best way to invest? No. If I can get a hold of somebody and kind of direct them a different way, and I'll talk about that, then we like to. But if you don't have anything else, get invested. Just get invested. Go to an Acorn, go to a Betterment, go to a Robinhood, and start investing. Because what we say often, and we know to be true, is if you can start investing and you can start calling yourself an investor, something's going to change about your perspective of money. And that's the first step that we want you to get into. Now, one of the things, and I hope that those that are listening can write this down. I hope that you can understand how important this is, because we've availed ourselves. If you get a chance, helpmeinvest.com. Helpmeinvest.com is a website where you can set up a 30-minute consultation with me. We're bringing on other people eventually, where we can sit down and give you some direction. There's nothing to sell. There's no fee. We're making that available because our passion is to help the body of Christ transfer wealth. And to do that, a big part of that is being good investors. So I hope you'll do that. We have firms that are available. My Money Coach, that we can help you invest different ways depending on where you're at. The point is that we've put things in place because that's a great question. The first thing you have to do is get started investing. Otherwise, the things that we talk about have no meaning. They have no impact on your life.
You know, the starting investing with goals in mind of consistently investing. It's important that you don't just make one, but that you consistently establish that habit. As you and I know, Don, we've talked about it, people think one day I'm going to be out of debt, owe no money, I'm going to have all this money, I'm going to invest it, and then I'll be able to retire. Yeah. Or I'll either win a lawsuit or win the lottery. Yeah. And we know the percentages, both of those are very, very small. Go ahead.
Well, it's a windfall mentality, and it's very dangerous, Dr. Crum. You're absolutely right. The windfall mentality is that one day, someday, something's going to happen that allows me to do what I'm not doing myself today. And that's simply just not true. It's less than probably a percentage. I don't know that number, but it would be small. People that actually get a large enough amount of money to do anything with. And if they haven't understood principles, they get that money, they do the wrong thing with it, and they're back where they started. So let me just finish this question and clarify this. So when I say that there are many different platforms out there, from Robinhood to Acorn to different ones coming up, I like that they're very easy for people to invest in. But what I really want you to do is to get into a long-term investment. So those have limited investments. Many times the fees are not good. And you do need a little guidance. And so there are some better ways. We like TD Ameritrade. We have no affiliation. We have nothing to do with them. We like that platform because it's easy. But we like to direct you into some places that we know that will be good. Because many times people are just trying to stock pick. They're trying to do things that without the right tools are hard enough with the right tools. But without the right tools, it's almost impossible. So I hope you'll go to helpmeinvest.com. If not, then just get invested in something if you don't have the time to do that. And we can always later on have a conversation as you're building your wealth. So that's a great question. Great way to start this conversation today. Just go to one of the easy apps or give us a call. We'll get you invested, because that is the first most paramount thing you have to do. You can't call yourself an investor if you don't invest. So make sure that you invest. Invest today. Get started today. You do not need the right circumstance or the perfect ingredients. Just start investing, and you'll see an incredible difference in your life.
And you start where you are. You
Start
can't
right where you are.
always start
That's
at the
right.
where you will be, but you
That's right.
start at where you are available.
Yeah.
And today, amazingly, there are quality investments that are available,
Yeah.
and the quantity in which you can invest are very variable.
Yes.
As low as $50 a month on up. And
Yeah.
so that it's didn't used to be that way,
No.
but it used to be years ago when I first started. Only the people with money could invest because the entrance was so much higher. But today, it's easier than it's ever been.
It absolutely is. And what an incredible opportunity. I really believe that's the Lord's doing in helping us to be at a place where we can invest at any level and any place. I hope that you will continue to send in your questions. They mean a lot to us because we can talk about a lot of things, but what we really want to do is find out what's important to you, the level of understanding, the questions that you have. So hopefully that we can add value to your investment knowledge and that you can increase and grow in that and stay curious and read as much as you can, get as much information. But when you have a question, please feel free to just send that in to us. Send those questions in because we really do enjoy them, and answering them helps us to make sure that we're being relevant and pertinent to you.